Welcome back to the Laminate Healing Podcast.
Where laughter meets inner peace.
We're your host, Shaka.
And I'm Kiana.
And we just want to thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of your favorite podcast, Lyman and Healing. We want to thank everyone who liked, subscribed, followed us on all our platforms, and everyone who reached out to us or commented or sent us questions. We really appreciate you guys' support. So sit back and enjoy this new episode today.
Yes, it's going to be a good one, and we're so happy to be here once more. So today we're going to be watching a video, and we're going to include it below, in the little clip below, so that you can follow along. So we're going to watch this video, and then we're going to share our opinion of what we think.
Okay.
Open the door.
Oh my God. What do you want?
You filed for my child?
And?
You filed for my child?
And?
My child living with you?
I'm paying child
You
support. New law. I have the right to file for him.
I don't care. Why would you? What do you? Where you gonna do the money?
What do you-
I filed for him for the past 6 years.
Exactly.
Since this child born, he living with me. I filed for him. Why would you file for him?
So now it's my turn to file for him, right?
But why you wouldn't discuss that with me first?
I don't care.
Why
It's
I have
the
to?
new
Why
law.
I have to get a letter, an email to find out that?
That's Trump. It's the new law.
You don't know how to send a text message.
Nope. I give you $1,000 a month for this boy, right?
Okay, have we already discussed this? It's like we had to go over the same things over and over.
$1,000 a month.
$1,000 a month not doing shit for Hakeem.
$12,000.
$1,000 a month is not doing shit for Hakeem. By the time I buy her shoes, by the time I pay for Hakeem's school
What
books,
shoes? You brought him out here with no shoes on. You don't even got no
we
jacket on. It's
his
cold.
shoes have
a year.
no right. You have
All
no
I'm
to drive
$8,500
without my
you finished?
permission. He lives with me.
And I'm paying $1,000
I
for
take
him.
him to school. I pay for his
$1,000 a month. 30,000.
Wow. And we're sorry there's some like bleeps because she was cussing a lot, so we had to bleep out a lot of it. So excuse us for that. So you might hear, and if you're listening on a streaming platform, just a heads up that, well, not a heads up because it's after the fact. There were pauses because there were a lot of cussing, so we had to bleep it out. Whew, that's a lot to talk about. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm gonna give my opinion. First of all, he's saying that Trump changed the law. That is incorrect. That is incorrect. Up until today, when we fact check this, the IRS states that if you're the custodial parent, meaning that you're the primary parent, and you're the parent that the child lives with, you have the right to basically, file for that child. However, you can give the non-custodial parent written permission to file for that child as well. So the way that he went about it, by just filing for the child just like that, I think he could potentially get into trouble. I don't know all the specifics with that, but with that being said, right off the bat, I'm like, okay, sis is mad. Like, she is so angry. And whoo, I'm like, okay, let me try to put myself in her shoes. Because, I'm sure she was looking forward to her little tax refund money to, once again, support the child that she lives with. We're gonna get into his child support payments. We're gonna get into that, but let me ask you right off the bat. Do you think the mother was wrong or right? Or the father, was he right or wrong? Who is right and who is wrong in this situation?
Well, to me, firstly, she showed up at the door, opened the door or whatever. I don't that you and the first question, you filed for my child. I'm like, for me, I don't like that at all because I always hate when women say my child, especially when they're talking to the dad. That's something that really grinds my gears because if you have any form of co-parenting, right? Any form of co-parenting. I can't say that that's the case for when a father or a mother disappears and that person is like, oh, my child, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's different. But if you're co-parenting, supporting, visitation is regular, you don't have any right to me to say, oh, my child, because and I hate when dads say, oh, it's your child too. Like, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. It's our child, because a lot of women like to say, oh, my child. And then now when the father, like, basically take a step back, you're upset. No, I think to me, using that verbiage, our child, brings,
Mm-hmm.
responsibility. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely didn't like that off the bat in her
Mm-hmm.
approach to the door, her approach with the child. Like, come
Mm.
on.
Because
You,
was she dropping him off from the video I'm gathering? She was supposed to
I
be
don't,
taking him to the father, maybe? No? Or
I
she
don't,
came for a confrontation?
she came for a conversation because at the in the video, I mean, some parts were that she told him to go to the car. So I definitely don't think that she was dropping
Maybe she
him
got
off.
maybe she got
Even if she
upset.
was, but even if she was dropping it off, it's not a time.
Okay, so I'm
It's not a
gonna
time.
back up sis here because we don't know what was being said behind the scenes. Perhaps they were having dialogue prior to this altercation,
It's
right?
a
Maybe
question. Okay, go
maybe
ahead.
she was at her taxpayers, you know, about to file at the tax office. And then they were like, oh, you can't file for this child because somebody else already claimed
She
for
said
him.
she got an email.
They got an email. Good.
She
So
did get an email stating
she
that
was
he
not
was filed.
expecting that, you know. To me, even if he filed, okay, fine. He said he's gonna file. He's a child's father. He's a co-parent as well. Should he not have reached out and like, hey, I'm filing for I forgot the child's name this year.
Hakeem.
Hakeem. I'm filing for Hakeem this year. Are you okay with that? Like a simple conversation. Y'all co-parenting. Why he couldn't call her and say that?
I agree. And I think he was very wrong for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
As people do wrong things, but the way that it was addressed, I don't agree with it. His actions, obviously, I don't necessarily condone as well, but the way that she approached it was bad. And the fact that he videoed and put her up, and yes, we are speaking about it right now, but we did take out a lot of the cussing out that she gave to you. So we spared sis, okay? But yeah, the fact that he videoed her and put her up on all of these things, I don't think that was good either on his part. So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying that he's perfect, but the way that she come off, oh, you fight for my child, it is his child too. It is
Mm-hmm.
his child too. And you need to, we need to make sure that men know that they need to take the responsibility, as in, like, it's
Mm-hmm.
not just your child. Because sometimes, oh, don't, talk to me or my child again. And, she said all of that too. And I'm like, no, you can't say, don't talk to me and my
Mm-hmm.
child and then want money. No, it
All
is
right.
you, child.
All right, we're gonna get into the child payments, child support payments later on.
But the
I
fact
wish
that
we could.
don't use terms like my child.
Okay,
That's all I'm saying.
I get that, and that could be an oversight on her part. Perhaps, let's say, he gives the we'll get into the payments soon because we have it on our topic to talk about on our list. So let's say she said that she's the one that's getting him ready for school. She's the one that
Yes,
he
she said,
lives with, probably doing
yeah.
homework, the emotional rearing, and all these things. So maybe it is an oversight on her part to say my child, but in the moment she was trying to show that I think, you know, she was trying to kind of showcase that, hey, I'm the one who's taking most of the care for the child. Yes, she's not right to say my child, but I feel like she's just wanting to make him be aware, or to let him highlight the fact that, hey, I'm the one who's doing most of this stuff. Yes, you support some money, some part of support. Does it go beyond that? And we don't know. Obviously, we don't know the full story. So we can't say the man is not an active father in the child's life,
No.
right? We can't say that. But, and I agree, she should not say my child, but I think, her point of view is like trying to, showcase like, hey, I am the one out here doing this stuff. Like, I'm the one taking care of him. Like, how can you do that without talking to me about it,
I
essentially?
agree. He should have, yeah, he should have talked to her. But the thing with a lot of the notion was that people be like, oh, my child is, I do this to my child, I do this, like, and then now the mom back off because of that.
Mm.
No, you need to ensure that, you know, that he is aware that the term my child, it puts more on the women, you
Okay.
on you. So that's what I'm saying. Like, no, you need to be
Okay.
like our child, even in
Right.
this but women tend to do that because they
Okay.
take, like you mentioned, they take a lot of
Fair point.
responsibility.
Fair point. So she said my child in words, but his action was my child because he filed for the child as
Yes.
is if it's his child without consulting her. So if women are supposed to be like, okay, our men have to be our as well, and not only when it's
Uh-huh.
convenient for them. In this case, he had the financial gain of ripping from the tax refund. I know that. I know. I already know the comments are going to be. I'm laughing now because I know the comments are going to be coming from me, but it's whatever. I know, you know, he reaped the benefit of being the person to file and get the refund.
Hmm.
Matter of fact, the money should go back to the child. Okay, and let me keep it a buck.
Okay, so in terms of filing, let's talk about filing because you know you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned a law or whatever. Like for me, what I've learned, I've seen a lot of people do,
Mm-hmm.
right? I've seen a lot of people would sometimes they file 1 year, the mom file 1 year, the father file 1 year, you know, or they even whoever filed, they split the money. There's different things. So who you think should file? The
So
mother, father
right. So going back to the law, by default, whoever the child lives with. So if it's
lives
mommy or
with.
daddy, that should be the person file. However, like Shaka said, you can have your own arrangement whereby you alternate. And that's true from a lot of people. Like they alternate, or if they have so many kids, like they split it up. Like you take two, I take two, whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel like by default, whoever is the primary caregiver for the child should be the one to file for that child or children. And it don't matter if it's mom or dad. Matter of fact, if it's
Okay. Well,
grandmother should file
oh,
for the kid too.
fact. Some. Anyway, we'll get into that. But no. Okay. But that's a good point. But that's normal. That's you're looking at it from like a lot of people that you would know. But there get some custody cases whereby the child spends equally
That's true.
half the
Mm-hmm.
time. So who necessarily did they live with? Because I guess some people you if you spend
50
Monday,
50.
Tuesday, half a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you
Yeah.
know,
That's
very strict, which is a whole nother topic because I don't think nobody should put their child through that. That's my personal opinion, but that's a whole nother topic for another day. What
mm-hmm.
happens then? Who should
I
file then?
I think, like you said, it goes back down to having an arrangement. Like, if they
Yes.
alternate the year or they split it, I feel like if they're doing 50-50, that's perfect to be either you get 50% of the money, I get 50% of the money, or we alternate the year and stuff like that. So I feel like
Hmm.
whatever it is, both parents should have a conversation together and have an
Conversation.
agreement. It shouldn't be
Yes.
one parent just filing. They need to have an agreement. And,
Yes.
in this case, there was none. And this is why
None.
there's a
Yeah, none.
problem because he violated, if there wasn't a set an agreement or a non agreement, clearly whatever he was doing is outside of the agreement. And it
Or
wasn't.
it caught her off guard too because she
Mhm,
didn't even know. You know, she's doing it for years, as she said.
mhm.
You know, so I do understand that she's been
That
doing it for
too. And
years, and then all
maybe
of a sudden,
yeah,
yeah,
and maybe he's has been asking her throughout the years, like, "Hey, can I get a year? Can I get a year?" And she's like, "Nope, no, no, no." And maybe this
which
year he
happens
took it
too,
upon himself to be like, "Oh well, according to Trump, this is what I'm
wh-
gonna do." Which
which
I'm
is
like,
not
true,
not
yeah.
correct.
So yeah, he probably listened to somebody and get his information from that.
Emboldened, but yeah, I think her argument is valid. Her approach
hmm
is not. It's not what I like at all. I don't agree with that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I understand, but I would give her some grace because, like I said, she she was taken off guard, and in addition to that, she is the primary parent in this case. It appears to be, so I feel like
yes,
whatever it is, she feels really slighted because she was mad, like she was really upset. But
yeah, and the
yes,
way he
he
was
could have.
responding to.
Yeah, and they could have handled it better because, a child is involved, the child was right there, and the conflict doesn't really help, to have that child see that kind of dysfunction between two parents. But he seems to be American and she obviously is a Caribbean woman. So I'm like, tread lightly, sir.
Yeah, that's good indeed. He needs to tread lightly. Okay, so what about the $1,000 a month?
That child seems to be what, 8 to 10 years old. Living in America, United States of America, $1,000 a month.
Okay.
Let me see.
From what you think?
I'm mentally calculating in my head how much is food right now. I just went to the grocery store.
Yeah, food.
I'm a household of one, me, and literally buying groceries for this week, and it was like $100, and that's because I went to a very budget friendly supermarket. So a child, we're talking about food, we're talking about clothes, we're talking about shelter. Yes, he's living with his mom, but all of
Hmm.
that takes into consideration. We're talking about if there's not child school fees. We're talking about educational fees in general, whether he needs, extra curriculum, if he's doing any kind of sports. And they live in New York City. Is that New York? Where they live in?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't. I don't think it was New York because the way they were driving, a lot of New York. I don't know. I
Chris
feel
do
like Jersey.
drive.
I get Jersey vibe. I could
Okay, it
be
could be
wrong.
Jersey.
I
I
get
don't
New Jersey.
know.
I don't know.
I would say I can't. Let me not put myself in her shoes. Okay, if it for me personally, it would have been a no. But maybe how she lives her life, it works. But I don't know. I feel like it's not enough. I personally
People
feel like
getting way less than
it's not
thousand
enough.
dollar. You understand? So I don't know.
But
Cause for what?
12,000 a year. He's like, I give him this child $12,000 a year. I have to Google this. How much does it cost to raise a child per year in America?
Okay, so for me, right? I think thousand. It doesn't matter the amount, because okay, let me look at a lot of average American making like $2,500 or $2,600 a month, Keanu. Then you gotta pay rent. So the man gotta give what he could afford. Don't forget that part. You understand? What? But I will say if it was me, right, and I'm co-parenting, every single expense for the child, I would split in half. And whoever the child live with, add a 10%, because I still gotta pay for light, water, emotional support. I got for if he hot belly, hot to me at night, I got for rubby belly. You ain't
Mm-hmm.
doing all of those. So I got at least
You
an
gotta
extra
call
ten
out to
percent.
work and
10%
all of
is
that.
low. Exactly. 10%
Mm-hmm.
is low. 10% is low. So every single thing, I splitting it down the middle. Everything, how much you eat,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, everything going half and half. And whoever you live with, an extra top 10, 15%. No facts. You can't be bringing
So,
kids into this world and be like, oh, but my money is only 2,000. Where you gotta go and get a side job. You gotta go and get a side hustle. You understand? Things has happened, yeah, but you bring this child into this world, you gotta afford it. So I split everything down in half, plus
mm-hmm.
50% for whoever you live with, because you ain't waking up in the night when you vomiting up. Absolutely not. That's
Facts,
me
facts,
opinion
facts.
there.
And then you risk, losing income because you have to call out sick if
All of them.
the child is sick and stuff like that.
You getting sick too?
That too. So,
Mothers get sick so much.
it's
Go
true.
ahead.
So according to my Google research, it says that the average cost to raise a child per year in America is $23,000. So I guess if he's doing
Okay.
50%, it's not too bad.
It's not too bad. Actually, he was doing good.
Yeah, he's
But
not
once
okay. He's not doing too
again,
bad.
you should Google what's the average child child support payment, because it probably less than that. Because a lot of people. This is another thing too. I've known a lot of people. I've watching this interview with this man. I never forgot. He have 4 kids. Caribbean man. I won't say where, but Caribbean man. 4 kids, and so they child support, and obviously different baby mamas. But they file child support. You know what he do? Stop working. Let's work on
Oh
the
yeah,
table. He was
that's
like,
true.
they can't file for what doesn't go through. I was like, bro,
Yeah,
like
that
that's
happens a
your
lot.
children. That
That
happens
happens a
so
lot. Mm-hmm.
often, you know. And so women, like, you really, I mean, when we making these kids, we don't necessarily think so far, but we need to start to think, really
Be
think about
careful who you procreate with.
who you're making this kid with. You know, everything is never
Mm-hmm.
perfect. Everybody don't show their, you know, the best foot at the bad foot at the beginning. Everybody don't, you know, things happen, things change. Nobody's saying nay, right? But the man doing $1,000, I think, to me is good, especially with cost
Girl.
of living, because rent alone,
Yeah.
you know,
Let
is
me take let me take
Mhm.
my words back because the national average for child support is
What is it?
$721. So the man is actually doing an okay job above
Yeah, who
okay.
you know getting $1,000 check, but women, your hair at least $1,000. If you know you don't get done, start.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Start
And
ask
then
for it.
I see another one where it says in some states it's as low as $430 a month. I'm like,
Yeah,
gosh,
because no, because the man can't give you what they don't have.
that is
There's
true.
facts, but the child still need to live,
Yeah.
regardless if you have it or not.
But here
Right?
is what I don't like, and this is why, it's good. Once again, parents should have an agreement and be able to, be cordial with each other. Because I hate when parents go to court, whether or not it's the woman, summonsy, as we would say, or whatever. The man doesn't want to, support a child, so she, will it have to do it? Because sometimes I feel like women do it when they don't need to, and then sometimes they do it because they have to, right? So this is what I don't like.
Yeah.
Okay, they're on a child support payment. This is how much you're supposed to pay. I hate that they're like, okay, this is my $1,000 I'm paying. That's it. Like, if there are needs that goes beyond that, I feel like as parents, you should be able once again to
Yes.
meet the child's needs beyond the written agreement, whether it's written
Mm-hmm.
or verbal. Like, just be there for the child, like, fully. So if that requires more than $1,000 a month sometimes, then you should do more than $1,000 a month. And if that requires not filing for their taxes, then you shouldn't file for their taxes.
Here, what I think the problem has come, right, is that then you the mother or the father on some cruise, and then they can't, or this the child wears something too expensive, or they think that the money ain't going to the right place, or they doing something, or the child got to go to this specific place, or the child got to wear this specific thing, and then they be like, he doesn't need to, she doesn't need to. So how you're spending the money too becomes an argument. That is the issue. If it was you, how much money you would want? How much money?
Girl, you already know. First of all, no.
Millionaire.
First of all, no. Like, I cannot quantify the amount because for me to even have a kid was required. So I can't even envision this.
Because a lot is required.
It's
Fair.
a lot of required. This kind of like back and forth argument, like, we gotta do more than this. This is bare minimum stuff, guys. Like the child, like we're gonna talk about that, like the effects and how it affects the child. But a month for me, I don't know, man. Like I can't even. If I said $10,000, people are gonna be like, "Girl, you're tripping." But $10,000 a month would probably give me peace of mind, cause me to live the way that I want to live. And yes, I do not currently make $10,000 a month, but don't matter. All right, be realistically speaking, I can't envision this because I just can't fathom this. I'm sorry. I cannot. I cannot. And that's me being real. Like I'm really trying to. I cannot give a quantifiable amount because I feel like I don't know, like the level of support and
Mm-hmm.
I would require from a man, like the father of my child. Like, I don't even think it would resolve in us doing this, like back and forth. Because I'm like, sir, first of all, you need to want this baby way more than me. Like, being a
Not too
father,
much though.
You should be like, I'm fighting you for custody, and then no. But that
That
kind
is a
of
different conversation. That different conversation. Not even who.
that is
Don't
a different
even get into
conversation.
a
But I'm
custody
saying
conversation.
emotionally, that's how I need him to be invested in this, right?
Okay.
So like, he needs to be so emotionally invested in being a father. Like this type of back and forth, like, and never gonna happen because he's gonna be like, "This is my child. I have to provide 100%,
And the man is
regardless."
providing more than the average. A matter of fact,
You hear what I'm
300,
saying?
sometimes 500 more than the average.
100%. Whether we together or not, he should be like, "That's my offspring. I wanna provide 100%."
You wouldn't
And
even think about filing the
he's like,
taxes.
he's trying to make my life easy. Like, I know he's the child live with you. You got emotional labor covered. Even that, he's like, I got you, even though we're not together anymore.
So what would you do? You say that that's what you want, but you won't even have this
No,
conversation.
that's
So
not what
would
I
you
want
prefer?
at all.
Would you prefer that even if he filed, not even have the conversation, not even say anything, not like get some women to be like, let he do what we want, let he give what we want, what do you think about that?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, 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 no. What you do what you want, you were doing what you want when we procreate this kid. So you ain't doing what you want when the child in this world and need assistance and guidance and support. Absolutely not. You're gonna be there and support that child, whether you like it or not. You're gonna show up, 100%.
I would show the receipts. You understand? Because when you be like, I would have been like, this is what this cost, receipt, bam. This is what this cost, receipt, bam. Simple. So you're not gonna be like, well, I give that amount. I know what you give, but this is what it costs. Do you want to tell Johnny that he
Refund me.
can't play football anymore because daddy can't afford it? You had that conversation. No, you don't, or you want that NBA star? Okay. Well, this is what is required. This is
You're
what is
like,
required.
you're like, he's taking a refund once a year, but you're refunding throughout the year. You're like, refund me that money, run me my check, bro.
No,
But
I not everything. I don't need everything. I just need half. Meanwhile, no half. Once again, half and 10% because if the child lives with
so you want
me,
60%.
because no, I got food. That food, the water, light. You're not paying that bill. You're not paying. I'm
Yeah.
paying that bill. The internet.
So what if the child lives with him on the weekends?
He's on the weekends. Okay, we could cut it down to 7%.
I'll be like, we're so ridiculous, but this is why we
No,
don't have
no,
kids.
you gotta be very no, because it's the only way to live fair. Because he's gonna think you in the conversation, he was like, oh, look, I give you all this money, and the child didn't get his shoes on, and she was like, what are you talking about? The shoes in the car,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
Like
yeah. I did hear him say that. First of all,
exactly.
how much for a pair of good shoes? That's what. And these children growing. At that age, you're growing. You buy a shoes this month, 2 months later, you got to buy another shoe.
Hence receipts. Then he gonna come with me. How much shoes I need? I'd be like, the shoes don't fit. Receipt. I taking out the receipt. It was like, oh, do you need a receipt? Yes, I need a receipt.
Yeah,
No,
this
because
is
that's how we
tough.
need to be.
And I acknowledge that. I can't even begin to envision this. This is why it's so hard. Like, take my answers with a grain of salt. Like, because, I can't even like envision it. And I know it's difficult, co-parenting,
Yes,
especially
especially
when
right
you're not
now.
in agreement. Oh,
Yeah,
challenge it.
yeah, yeah. We probably have a co-parenting episode, but with an expert. Like, how do you? Because
Yes,
I
because it's
feel like
needed.
it's needed because co-parenting
Mhm.
is hard, right? You can't. It's not something that you can just come up with overnight, and things change. People
Mhm.
change, people move on, people get different, more kids, have different family, change states, all of
Hold
these
up
different
now.
things.
Because when more kids come in the picture, no, you can't pay $1,000 a month anymore. So
So
now
no,
the
I
money
gotta
comes
feel
down.
it's a whole different conversation.
I'm telling
It's
you.
true. That's probably why you file. don't know
Oh
you.
my God.
Sir, I don't know you. But I was like, does this man have more kids? He filed out the purpose.
Listen. It's difficult. I can't even imagine. I don't even want to go as crazy as I would on here, just to, not scare you guys. But yeah, no.
Yeah, so for me, like, how I would deal with something like this, I would definitely try to at least see like try to get some kind of conflict
Mm-hmm.
resolution situation, kind of going. That's how I would
Yeah.
try to work through that because I don't focusing on that is the most important thing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like for me, I feel like that's why it's so hard for me to envision this because I feel like I won't even let it get to this point of like, because I feel like when you're co-parenting, you have to put your differences to the side for the child. Like you have to be cordial with each other for the child.
yes,
So for me, if once again, like you said, sometimes people show put their best foot forward, so you don't get to see who they are in the beginning and all that stuff, and
yeah,
people, change, and that is true. But it's still so important, even if the relationship failed, for you to show up. Like I need a person to be a level of maturity that can be like, hey, me and you, we're not together anymore, but I can put aside the pettiness, the dislike, whatever it is, the hard feelings to the
yeah,
side so that we can be there for this child. And being there for your children, your child requires you to have decent discussion about, money and stuff like that. Like that level of chaos shouldn't be happening, especially around the child. Like it was really, they could have both of them, so we asked earlier who is right and who is wrong. Both of them. Both of
but
them,
them
I
was
see.
wrong.
Yeah, because they could have addressed that in a better way, handle it better. And that's ultimately why we wanted to discuss this video, because there are so many people who are probably dealing with a similar situation. How you
Especially
deal
right
with it is
now,
important. Tax season. It's tax
tax
season.
season.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, for me, like you could definitely prevent this,
Mm-hmm.
because from that's the thing. Like my main focus was the child should not have been there, right? Because it can affect the child. I know that people be like, oh, he gonna be okay or whatever, but no, as we mentioned, we're strong advocates for children. The smallest argument could affect a child, because what happens, the child feels it's his fault because they're
Mm-hmm.
arguing over technically
Him.
his money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And taking care of him and he coming off as a burden. So
That's so good.
absolutely, absolutely keep these conversations away from the child. I get it, sometimes they heat a moment and something we can, but try your best to prevent it.
Mm-hmm.
From the moment you see the email, it could have been a call showing up at that man's door. If he had called the cops or
Mm-hmm.
somebody else had called the cops, how
Mm-hmm.
bad of an experience it could have been, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's try our best to prevent these things from happening. Let's definitely try, because this kind of argument could definitely affect the child emotional well-being, right? When people see their parents yelling or fighting or using harsh language against each other, right? Or they definitely feel unsafe, right? That's not a
Mm-hmm.
safe environment to be in. It's not a healthy environment to be in. So you want to focus on preventing these things from happening,
Mm-hmm.
because later on in life, on in life, one, you see the child exhibiting these same things, you want to know why. Or two, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and this might not be something that they always do. I'm not saying that it's something that they always do, right? I don't know. But even one time, it matters. And we, as people, we need to do better. Because, we were once young too. And we probably see me, I see my mother and my father fight a million trillion times. It's become such a norm for me, and now we doing the same thing, thinking
Mm-hmm.
it's a norm. It's not normal, it's not healthy. Let's do better. We in 2025, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do better, right? Also, another way you could help, like, prevent it, definitely try to have healthy conversation, healthy, even if they're just avoid any kind of negative conversation. But for the moment, the approach, I'm saying the approach was completely wrong. Even if she wanted
Mm-hmm.
to come with a healthy, because sometimes, let's say he did have another child, let's say that, and be like, you know what, I want to file for this child. Or maybe she could have asked, say, like, you know what, why you do, I always file,
Yeah.
usually. I mean, I find it strange that you would do it this time. Why did you do it? That could have been a nice, simple question, you know? His response
Mm-hmm.
too, even though she came at him in that way, his response didn't have to be, "Oh, Trump said," no, he didn't have to say that. He didn't have to say it like that either. He could have been
He
like, you
was
know what?
he was throwing gas on the fire.
Yeah, exactly. He was plus filming the girl. Like he knows, So Eden had to respond in that way too. Respond with her empathy. Where's empathy for her? Because now she's
Mm-hmm.
clearly hurt. She does all of these things. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't even his responses wasn't even really helping at all. It was really throwing gas on the fire because he was like, he didn't even get shoes on. Like, bro, like if it was me, I didn't even hear
Nitpicky.
nothing else. I, I,
Yeah.
I, I will forget the reason why I'm here. why was I? Why was I here again? No,
Swinging.
you're telling me about shoes. You telling me about shoes? Let me almost say the word. Shoes, bro.
That's what I'm
Bro.
saying. Listen.
Conversation would have been left, been left. But yes,
Listen. Mm-mm-mm.
if one person coming in hot, I always say if one person coming hot, you try to cool it down.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need to do. That's
Yeah,
what we
and
need to do.
that's so good. And you're so right. But sometimes sometimes we can't always prevent the conflict.
That's true.
And in my mind, I know you're saying that she came over with the child. To me, here's how I view it. I feel as though she was gonna, she got an email last night and she was like, you know what, I'm gonna talk to him in person. I'm gonna drop off Hakeem today. I gonna have a little conversations with him. So in my mind, that's what she was doing. She was dropping off her son because it was he turned, to
You
have him.
saw, she said, open the door. You think his son was coming?
Right, because anyways,
And then
this
she
is
sent him in the car. If he
right
would have go,
because she got mad. She's like, I carry back my child. She already sent my
okay. If you
child.
okay, that's your
She's like,
opinion how you view it. Go
she
ahead.
was like, my child, go back in the car. Right. I'm not saying she's right, but that's why that's how I picture it was
Okay.
happening. That,
Okay.
she came, she was gonna drop him off, and then and then he, came. First of all, so she said open the door, right? Why did he already have a camera recording her? I feel like, they were having a conversation, he whipped out the
Yes.
camera, he closed the door because she was like, don't close the door on me, close the door on me, right? Anyways, so I feel like, in that case, she was like, okay, I'm just going
I
over,
probably know it.
have a conversation, right? So the conflict happened. So sometimes the conflict, you can't avoid the conflict, right? Let's say in this case, they couldn't
Yes.
avoid it, right? It
Yes.
happened. The conflict
Yeah, sometimes
happened.
because you can't control another person,
Yeah.
right? So you
And she got
can't avoid
mad.
it.
And we're only humans. Sometimes you can do all the work in the world and still get triggered and you lose
Especially,
all.
yeah. Especially if somebody who's doing the work, who's trying to do the work.
Yes. And like he insinuating that, oh, you're taking proper care of this me child or a child because why the child have on shoes and it's cold. Which is true. Why the child have on shoes. But anyways.
Stop. Caribbean people for ask where the baby shoes at.
In the cold, yes, please keep the babies covered. So the conflict happened, right? So in their case, the conflict happened. The child was there. What are you gonna do about it? It already happened, right? You can't take it back. So the one thing you can do is have the open conversation and reassurance. Like the mom, when she returned to the car, first thing she should do is apologize to their son and like, I'm sorry, mommy, daddy lose their cool. Dad's supposed to call the child and have his own version of that conversation, right? I know
Yes.
people are like, oh, you shouldn't. I don't have to apologize to no child. Yes, yes, you do. Yes, you do. So humble
We
yourself.
not that kind of thinking. We not doing that here.
Yeah. So I would say right off the bat, I would have apologized, and then I would
Mm-hmm.
explain why I was so frustrated that you know,
A
high level,
misunderstanding.
high level. explaining. Don't go into nitty gritty. Don't go and be like, oh, your father is a robber because he robbed your tax money. Don't do all though. High level. High level. Mommy and daddy had an agreement for A, and daddy went to do B. And that, took me by surprise. And I lost my cool, but I am really sorry. That's not how I want you to go about expressing your emotions, because you should be in
Feels good.
control of your emotion. But know
I feel
that,
good.
sometimes being upset is acceptable, because we're humans. Sometimes
Yeah.
mommy makes mistakes, and mommy really sorry that she made such a mistake in front of you. I did not mean to yell. I did not mean to go on like that, and we're both sorry about it. And dad should call as well and have that conversation, right? But more importantly, acknowledging the child in this situation. A lot of times adults argue big, cuss out, slam down, beat up, da 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 da. Children witnessing this, and nobody even reassures the child. We're scared. Like Shaka said, growing up, you were seeing certain things. Nobody's reassuring you. You're terrified. People forget that children, this is, children, that is their first time in the world, and they're looking to you, their caregiver, to be both an emotional safe space as well as a physical safe space. So when you're not being that for them, it is very
Mm-hmm.
unsettling,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Mm-hmm.
causes anxiety, because you don't know which way is up. And mommy's upset, daddy's upset, they're going at each other, angry words, violence, and it's very terrifying,
Yeah.
because
They're not
as
even checking for the children. There's a truth.
no,
They're
they're
so
not.
busy with their own self. But now you, as a parent, you really
Yeah.
gotta put yourself aside. Like, especially if
Mhm.
you're gonna have the child here.
Exactly. And more importantly, moving forward, things gotta change. Yes, this happened, but you can't keep it making it a pattern. You can't keep
Yes.
making it doing the same thing over and over. The child deserves to see better behavior from both parents. So whether the parents
Yes.
can have at a later date, when they can cool their heads and have a civil conversation, and just be like, hey, we need to revise the agreement concerning, in this case, how we file taxes, because this can't keep happening moving forward. We have to be on the same page for the child. And if that involves including like therapists and a third party, you need to do whatever is necessary for that child. And
Yeah.
you need to also have guidelines of how you're going to argue in front of your children, because you
Yes.
can be using foul language, violence, being hostile in your communication towards each other, being disrespectful. Because at the end of the day, remember, that child comes from 50% of each of you. So if
Yeah.
one half of him is insulting the other half, how do you think that child feel?
Yep. That's so
They're
good.
both parents. They're part of both parents. So they deserve to
Yeah.
see their parents treat each other with respect, because
Yes.
they don't
That's
internalize
so
that,
good.
because if
Yeah.
mom is disrespecting daddy, part of that is going to be internalized in you, because that's your father. So if I come from him, that means if he's this, I'm also this, because I'm him. So you have to be
Yeah.
careful the language you use in front of these kids, and seek counseling, like I mentioned earlier, have better communication. Like, we got to do better. I don't care what people said, that's how you were brought up. Break the cycle. We got to make
Thank
a
you.
change. We got to make a
Thank
change.
you.
We got to make a
Break the
change. It's
cycle. Yeah.
unacceptable. And like Shaka said, we're huge advocates for children. I don't care. Do better by them kids. Give kids
Yes.
a childhood that they don't need to recover from. Like, stop it. We need to stop. So many broken adults in the world because of the childhood. And we need to do better.
Yes. It's there's literally no other reason. And you talk about not having respect for each other, disrespecting each other. Then the child start disrespecting the other parent, and then you want to know, oh, why, whatever. Because they modeling you.
Yes.
They modeling you. Use where they learn it
Yes.
from. Some people be like, we get it from, we should get who you
Yes.
think?
Exactly. Exactly. And we understand that things happen. Nobody is
Yes, things happen.
perfect. Nobody's
Mm-hmm.
perfect. But when things happen like that, always remember the well being of the child or children in the
Yes.
situation. Whenever you collect yourself after going off, look down for them picnic because
Yes,
they're right there. Look at
correct.
them, acknowledge their emotions and their feelings in this. It's not just about the adults. Remember the children.
Oh, so
Remember
good.
Simba. You remember? To the Lion King. But seriously though, situations can get intense, right?
Yeah.
But we have to consider kids. When children are present, we need to conduct ourselves in better manner. We need to, because you as a parent, and this is the last I'm gonna say, you know, your child does something, right? Whatever, big or small, you completely out of character. That doesn't show them, again, how to handle themselves. So
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
cussing out another adult in front of them. That doesn't give them a good model of how they
No.
should handle their emotions. So remember that. Remember that your children are watching you, they're
Yeah.
observing you. This is their first time in the world, just like it's yours as well. You have more
Mm-hmm.
years of experience. You need to manage your emotions, your behavior in a more positive way,
Yeah.
especially when you're around your kids, because they
Yeah.
deserve to feel safe and secure.
Yeah. And you know what? As you mentioned that, and think back about your life. Like I've never, like, think about when you were a child. I know I'm thinking back about that for myself. Like I've never felt safe when my father cussed somebody out. I wasn't
No,
feeling safe. I
absolutely
never
not.
felt safe. I never felt safe whether he or my mom would cuss. Like that never made me. It made me feel afraid. Even if, let's say, you cussing somebody else because of safety. Let me say because it's a safety issue. Still, then the child's afraid of you,
Hmm.
and these things. Like, think back about how you felt when you were in this position instead of being like, well, oh, this happened to me and I turned out fine. But did you
Hmm.
though? Did you?
Yeah, that's the thing. People will be so delusional, but we're not going to talk about that today. But yeah, put it in the comments and let us know what you would have done in this situation. If you were the woman in the video and the man, like how would you have handled the situation?
Yes.
Because we need to talk about this, because as a community, again, we bring in awareness and
Yes.
highlight that children deserve to be seen and to be acknowledged in all circumstances. They're not just little nothing. They're persons, they're little beings, and they observe all of that inside of them. Whether or not they may say to you, their
Yeah.
emotions are affected. So we need to consider those things.
Yep.
We need to.
Well said.
Yeah.
Okay.
So give us a thumbs up, like, subscribe, share it with someone, especially if you know they're having a little sticky co-parenting situation. Send them the video
Yeah, that's
so they
true.
can listen to this. But we just implore all parents, co-parents, especially, to really get on the same page for your kids. Like, they deserve to have that in their life.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so continue to follow us on all platforms. We're on TikTok, Facebook, as well as Instagram. And
Yep.
also, please subscribe on YouTube if you haven't done so. I know we were talking about this earlier. A lot of people don't realize this, but you need to have a Gmail account to subscribe
I didn't know.
to
Yeah,
YouTube.
I didn't know. It
Yeah.
was me.
Yeah. So if you don't have a Google account, it's free. Just create one and just give us a
Yes.
subscribe. Like, it will really help us achieve our subscription goals. And
Yes.
yeah, we're also available on streaming platforms, so Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and other major streaming platforms. We are available on all of those. So you have options, people. You have options. We're making it easy peasy lemon squeezy
And it's
for you,
free.
and it's free for you to subscribe to us. So please, we're really begging you to subscribe and share it with 10 people, not even 5, 10 people. 10
Yeah, I
people.
know a lot of people.
Share it
Them
with
like,
them, because we want to grow this year. We want to expand, and we can only do it with the support of you. So please
yes.
continue to support us. We appreciate your viewership. We do not take it for granted. We love hearing the feedback, but some of those
Yes.
feedback, y'all can leave it in the comments. So, engagement, some engagement. But we love the feedback. We have so many people, are more comfortable send us messages, and that's fine.
Yeah.
we'll take it anyway. We get it.
Yes.
So, okay. So thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Lime and Healing Podcast. Until we meet again, remember to bust a lime.
Bus, bus a lime. See
See
you
you
next
next
time.
time.